This video is going to show how to replace a mirror on a 2004 through 2009 Toyota Prius. So I live in Vancouver, Canada, where there's lots and lots of Priuses around, so finding used parts at a pick-apart, wrecker's yard, whatever you want to call it, is pretty easy. The hard part is finding them that aren't yellow, because most of them have come off taxis. I've had this car for a number of years, but ever since I've had it, the side mirror had a little crack in it that I've been meaning to replace. Recently I was in a parts yard and I picked up a new mirror. So I'll show you how I did it all. So before we get started on this, we're going to want to get our tools together. You're going to need a 10mm socket wrench. You could try using an adjustable wrench, adjustable spanner. I used one of those when I pulled the mirror off the car in the parts yard and it didn't work out so great. So I suggest you get one of these if you can. It was only $8 for this set. You're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver for removing the screws that hold in the door card, and a non-marking tool for removing some of the little covers for the screws. And finally you're going to need about 6 cents, and you'll find out how I use that later on. Since the back of this mirror that's coloured is in reasonably good condition, I'm going to reuse it on the new mirror. The mirror that I picked up had a yellow coloured back because it's off a taxi, and obviously you could repaint it if you wanted to, but that costs extra money for paint, takes time to dry, and so in this case I'm just going to take the coloured back off this one and put it on the other one. Now the first thing that I want to do here is get ready to take that back off by moving the mirror into the most angled forward position it can. So you do that by switching to right and then angling it up. All the bolts that you'll need to remove and nuts to remove the mirror are behind this speaker panel here. But unfortunately the mirror is plugged in via a cable which is plugged in about here, so you need to remove the entire door card. In this model of the Prius there's no airbags in the doors, but if yours has airbags, make sure you check the resources online for how to disable them. Basically you unplug the battery and leave it unplugged for about 5 minutes before you start working on it. To remove the inner door card, you need to remove 2 screws. One of them's down here in the handle, and the other one's behind a plastic cover here. I'm just using this little non-marking tool to remove the plastic cover. It's come in like that. And it pops out. Once the cover's out, we just get our little Phillips screwdriver, go in here, remove the first screw, place it somewhere safe, and a second screw from in here. And take out the cup as well, and place that somewhere safe. We then pull off this speaker cover, like so. There's nothing inside it, just make sure you keep this little metal clip. This is the speaker here, which will mount back in there when we put it back on. Then it's a matter of removing the door card. Now, it's nicely sealed most of the way around, except they've been really helpful to you, and there's actually a handhold marked down the bottom. So, put your hand in, and pull up. Then once you get it to about a 30-degree angle, it comes away from the door like this. And that's the connector for the mirror that we want to disconnect. You do that by just pressing down on this little tab here, and out it comes. You don't need to remove the whole door card, but if you wanted to, you could at this point. But all we want to do is take off these 3 nuts, and that's a 10mm socket bit. Now when I pulled the mirror off the car in the car yard, I tried using an adjustable spanner, and it didn't go so well with one of the screws, so I'm using 10mm socket wrench here. Now, I don't need to worry about it falling off. I'll hold it up, of course, but there's a little tab here that holds it in as well. Then I just push down on the tab and the mirror comes away. We then take our replacement mirror. See, I've removed the back cover panel, also cleaned it up as much as I can. Had a little bit of overspray here from where it was painted, but otherwise it was in good condition. So take off the nuts, which I kept from the yard. And place it in the same way I took the other one out. So we thread the mirror cable through there, line up the 3 little bolts, press down on this little lever, and it's in. Then we replace the bolts. I'm using the ones off the mirror that was on the car because they're cadmium plated instead of just nickel plated. Probably doesn't matter much, but whatever. Put them on finger tight by hand. Then tighten them up with the socket wrench. Then connect the mirror cable back in. And we'll take that and hold it back up. I'll remove the door card back into position. So again, same way it came out. Give an angle. And then down. Then we line up the little press studs here. Here. Replace this screw here. And replace the little screw behind the door handle. Next we put the speaker cover back in place. Some of the higher levels of trim have got slightly different speakers, but in general they work the same way. Just line these up. It's like it was always there. Alright, now we just check everything works. Mirror goes up, mirror goes down, right, left. That's about where I like it. We'll check that the windows go up and down. Yep. Door locks, unlocks. Alright. And I'll just put this little cover plate back in. So this cover goes back in the same way that it came out. You just open the door handle a little bit and wedge it in, press it tight. So it's got some little clips on the back here. Hopefully you can see. There we go. All good. Now, this is our sacrificial mirror, so if anything happens to it, it's not the end of the world. So try on the one you're getting rid of first. Alright. So, if you see in there, there's a white plastic plate, and there are black plastic clips on there. Rotate it upwards. Then it's just a matter of angling it out. Like that. So on the back of it, we see these little clips here, which retain the mirror on the white plate, and this little hook here, which slots it into the top of the plate. So these hooks go into this slot at the top, this slot here, and these clips go into these pegs here. So then, now the mirror's off, you can see all the clips that hold it in on the back. And getting these clips off, even with access to them, is pretty difficult. So I'm going to try a method that I saw someone suggest, using pennies. So this is the penny method. It's actually gone pretty well. What I've done is I've just taken a couple of pennies and wedged them into the smaller clips here. And then I'm going to try on the larger ones, and then hopefully we should just be able to push it off. Alright, I've got the pennies wedged into all the plastic slots, and that worked surprisingly well actually. So now I'm just going to hold on to the black bit and push on the white bit from the inside. Should just come out. Should just come out. Alright, so that's the white panel off. You can see it's pretty dirty from, I guess, 9 years on the road at this point. But if we clean it up too much, it won't match the other side. So I'm just going to put it back on as is. If you wanted to, you could take this opportunity to give it a light sand and maybe another coat of touch-up paint. Or if you haven't got one that's in the right colour, you could repaint it the same way. So I'm just going to put this one on. So when you're putting this back on, you want to make sure that the clips in the bottom go into their respective little holes first. Alright. And we're done. And we're done. So, hope this helped somebody. I've enjoyed doing this, and I'm glad to finally get this fixed up.